See if we can get you connected here. All right, Bobby, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. Welcome, everybody. It is 4 o'clock on a Friday, and it is time for the Thomas Baia Show. Very special edition. We have Bobby Atlas joining us for the full hour. We're used to him for little 15-minute segments, but we decided let's get him on for the whole hour, and we got a jam-packed show. We got some football, some baseball, basketball. I want to start it off. Obviously, some sad news. Not to start on a sad note, but obviously earlier in the week, Dr. DePiro lost his battle with COVID-19. He had been on a ventilator since Christmas. And I want to express my condolences to everyone impacted. Obviously, me being a freshman, I never did get a chance to meet him. But to all our thoughts and prayers out to his family and friends and all administrators, teachers, and the Bonda community. We are all praying for you. But the Bondas, they won today. They now advance in the A10 tournament. They defeated, let me get the actual score up here. They beat Duquesne today, and they will play St. Louis tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And looking at the box score, very good offensive game for the Bonnies. Let's pull it up here if we can. Osuni, 18 points, Attaway 12, Kyle Lofton 11, Welch 18. Pretty good day for the Bonnies, and they move on and they will play St. Louis tomorrow night. But we have Bobby on here. For some reason, he's not a Bonnie. He's down at Hartwick, and he's joining us here. So let's go ahead and talk about one thing that came up in the news, Bob, was Dak Prescott. He got franchise tagged last year. And he is looking for a new deal. He's looking for a long-term deal with the Dallas Cowboys. And he is one of these guys where I think he's very good. I don't think he's great. He's a guy you can win with, but you need help around him. And he's asking for $40 million a year. And to me, I don't see what I'm missing, and I don't see how he's worth $40 million.
Well, first of all, I'm going to thank you for having me on for the whole hour. This is going to be fun. I can tell already. But, the thing about Dak, and, it's sort of a bad situation for him because he is a really good player. Like, he really has grown on me. In years past where people say that he's, like, top 5, like, I see that it's hard to agree with. But he's definitely up there in, like, a high tier of quarterback. And it's going to be tough because he's a guy that's going to set the market. And if he wants to stay on the Cowboys, he's probably going to end up having to take a pay cut. And that's really just due to the fact that they don't really have that good of a team right now. They're going to need to put a lot of different assets elsewhere. And $40 million, that's just way too steep, especially for the Cowboys. If he wants that type of money, I don't even know what a good destination for him would even be. And I feel like if he decides to take this trek into free agency, he's going to realize that he's really not worth that much. He's a really good player, and I feel like everybody in the NFL understands that. But he's not good enough for $40 million.
He's not. And the thing that if he does somehow get this $40 million, if Jerry Jones folds and gives him the $40 million, I think he's going to realize, Dak, if he doesn't already, he's not a guy that, from what I can see, where he's got the Aaron Rodgers ability or the Russell Wilson ability to just make people better, like where you can win because you have him at quarterback. When I see Aaron Rodgers, I say, okay, they're winning because of him. The Seahawks, they win because of Russell Wilson mainly. Dak, you need help around him. You need the O-line. You need the wide receivers. You need a good defense, and obviously right now they don't have that. But it's guys, you need that, and it sucks because he might not get that $40 million if that's really what he's looking for. But I don't see how the $40 million. Yeah, it's a lot of money in your bank account, but you're playing for the Dallas Cowboys. You're making $50 million in endorsements, and I don't really see how giving him $40 million is smart for the Cowboys. I really don't.
Well, one thing that I always think of when I'm thinking of a situation like this is I compare it a lot to the Mahomes contract, right? Pat Mahomes signed $1 million, a $1 million year deal, right? So he's going to be on that team forever. And then as soon as he signs that deal, you see people saying, well, now in the future he's not going to get any help. After he signed that deal, he went to the Super Bowl the very next year. And we've talked about this before. The cap is going to keep increasing. So that contract isn't really that bad of a hit. If you're the Cowboys, maybe you're even like thinking of this, but I wouldn't even offer Dak Prescott $40 million, right? How much is Pat Mahomes making a year right now? Do you know? Do you know what the exact details are?
He's 45, 10, with that bonus. I think it was, I can look it up. I think it was over 500. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I'll get it up for you.
Anyway, that price that Dak wants just isn't going to be capable, I don't think, for the Cowboys. And if there's another team in the league that wants him that badly, then like by all means you can go out and get him. But your team's just not going to get any better. And we've had this conversation about Josh Allen a million times, right? About how, if he wants to sign this big deal, he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Well, we've seen Pat Mahomes do it, right? He already went to another Super Bowl after signing that huge deal. They had a great team around him. I feel like guys who want to play with a quarterback like that are going to start gravitating toward that team and maybe taking pay cuts like that. That's the situation with Dak Prescott. I don't think that he's that type of player. He's not that caliber player, right? Guys are going to end up taking pay cuts. Like I'm not even saying like on the offensive end. I'm saying more defense guys, right? So on that defense, Chris Jones takes a pay cut and they go to a Super Bowl, right? Tyrann Mathieu isn't getting paid that much. He takes a pay cut. And the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league at drafting. And they have a rookie corner, Ladarius Sneed, who comes in and plays like a Pro Bowler, right? It's just not that type of situation, I don't think, with Dak.
Yeah, and Jerry Jones, he's kind of hurt himself in the sense where he's given all these guys huge deals. Zeke, Jalen Smith, he's given all these guys huge deals early, and now it's not even that they don't have the money for Dak, it's that they don't want to. And honestly, I wouldn't give it to him either. And the Cowboys are they're a team that you look at them on paper and you think, wow, this team should be really good. Zeke's a very good running back. O-line, top 5 every year. Amari Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb now. They have great, really good players. A couple of them I'll even say great. But it's just the way that it's like there's no depth. It's like they're top heavy, I guess I would say. Mm-hmm. But you look at teams that are, winning, you look at the Bills, they have a lot of depth. You look at the Chiefs, a lot of depth everywhere. The Buccaneers, a lot of depth everywhere. And the way you can't win when you're all top heavy. And I mean, do they really? I mean, how was their draft? I mean, okay, CeeDee Lamb was great, but they could have taken a safety. But I mean, I guess CeeDee Lamb, I guess you have to take him. Their second round pick was Diggs.
Yep.
I mean, did he? I mean, I wasn't really aware. Did he have a?
He was in a pretty bad situation. The Cowboys lost Byron Jones in the offseason, so Diggs immediately became their number one. And even out of Alabama, I never really saw him as a true number one lockdown cornerback. I feel like if they kept a corner or even signed a different one and had him at another corner spot, then he would have been really good. I still think he's a really good player, just not at that number one corner spot.
No, I agree. And we'll shift over to this. We have, I was looking, and right as I was walking into the studio, I have it on my phone right here. I'm sure you got the same alert from NFL. Buffalo Bills and safety Micah Hyde agreed to terms on a 2-year contract extension worth up to $19.25 million per Ian Rappaport. So there's a guy locked up. He wasn't a free agent, though, this year, was he? He
wasn't. It was just an extension. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a guy that you're keeping. But we didn't even plan to talk about this, but I don't see the Bills making a huge splash in free agency. I know a lot of people wanted J.J. Watt, as did I. But I don't see after J.J. Watt. We don't have the money. I don't know how much of a big free agent splash we can make.
Well, you got to think about it. There's not a ton of guys that are worth it to go after. I mean, really, when you think about positional need for the Bills, it's at a second corner, it's at linebacker, it's at running back maybe. I wouldn't say in free agency, but just running back period. And then offensive line. You always need offensive line depth, and maybe even defensive line depth. There's not a ton of guys that stand out to me really that the Bills can go and get. I mean, really, it's Matt Milano who I'd want to keep around, but he's obviously going to be testing the waters in free agency. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that there's going to be a big free agent signing where we release a bunch of guys and then go and get one special guy that we need to fill a hole.
Yeah, no, I don't see it either. And one of the things is, you're looking at the team, and I believe, what's our cap right now? It's not great. It's not a lot of
$5 million, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and some of the guys are going to leave. Some of the the Trent Murphys of the world are going to leave. But I mean, basically what it comes down to is Brandon Beane has to do what, in my opinion, I think this is the best thing he does is draft. I think he's fantastic at drafting. And he's a guy where you have to draft well. You have to, you have to find those late round guys. One of the guys I was wondering is, I see rumors about it, is that Gabe Jackson, he's a guard from Oakland, I believe. And I know he didn't allow a sack in like over 1,000 snaps last year. He got released. He's a guy maybe you take a look at. I don't know what he's going to be looking at, money-wise. Obviously, that's the $1 million question. But he's a guy maybe. But you want to keep Feliciano probably. You want to maybe keep Darrell Williams, but he'll probably be looking for a big payday. So it all comes down to money. And I don't know if there's big name out there that we can get.
Well, my assumption is that there's probably guys that are on current deals that are probably going to end up getting waived. And that's just how it goes usually when you want to look at the way that your roster is built. If we want to keep around Darrell Williams, it's going to have to end up being one guy that was maybe starting last year, maybe had an impact last year, that's going to end up getting dropped. And then you also have to look at the draft as well. There's a ton of really good prospects. I saw a list the other day of guys that the Bills have already met with, and not even notable guys from the first round, but not low level, but just lower guys that would go lower in the draft, like return men, extra offensive linemen, linebackers, stuff like that. Not super impactful guys, but guys who maybe have potential that they always want to look for. And that's what, like you said, Brandon Beane is really good at that, at finding those special guys.
No, he is. And one of the things we were talking about, another team in the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are sticking with Ben. They restructured his deal. They got him in for another year. I understand they had a good year last year. They started out 11-0. I get that. I know, then they started to fall off towards the end, and then they lose to the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. And, when I think of Ben, he's not a guy who strikes me as, how do I want to say this without being completely disrespectful to Ben Roethlisberger, which I should be okay with, but maybe he's not a guy who I see working his tail off in the off season. I don't see, stuff on him, maybe, because he's not on social media as much. I don't know, but I don't really hear much about him. And, there's some stories out there about him as a teammate, but just as a player, he's not special anymore. And in this league, you have to be special at quarterback. I mean, name a successful team that isn't special at quarterback. Brady's special, Mahomes special, Deshaun's special, Rodgers is special, Wilson, go on and on. You can't, and if you look in their division, you could argue he's the worst quarterback in the division. Lamar, Burrow's going to take another step. Baker had a really good year. You could argue you can't win in this league if you have the fourth best quarterback in your division. So I don't know if I can see the Steelers, and especially because now they're going to have a harder schedule because they just had a really good year. I don't think that I can see them going far. I don't know if I even see them cracking the playoffs because this AFC is so loaded.
Yeah, it's a really weird signing, I think, on both ends. If you're Ben, you were getting beat up a lot last year, at least at the tail end of the year. They looked really good in the first 11 weeks, obviously, but then he started to get beat up in the last few weeks before the playoffs. And then if you're the Steelers, you see the decline that you have on offense. I mean, you have one of the best defenses in the league at the time, and you see the decline on offense. Juju isn't producing. Deontay Johnson's dropping almost every other ball, and Ben can't throw the ball on a rope longer than 35 yards anymore. It doesn't just start with Ben, I don't think. Now, restructuring his contract is smart, sort of, if you're going to keep him around, because one, you have an attempt to go out and maybe get a quarterback in the draft, and maybe with a good vet. I mean, look, Roethlisberger was really, really good like 10 years ago, right? He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league 10 years ago. But now there's just really no point in keeping him around unless you're going to keep him around like a Matt Barkley kind of guy, right, on the Bills. Having him there,
that's an expensive
true.
Matt Barkley.
That's what I mean. Like, that's the only reason that I don't understand this like realignment of a contract is because he's just not that good anymore. Like, the only reason that I would want to keep him around, at least at this point in his career, is to just keep him around as a vet. I really think that this is probably going to be his last year as an NFL quarterback.
It should be. I mean, other than that, I think he'd be pushing it. I don't want to see, and unfortunately, I'll say it, a Breeze ending. Breeze kind of didn't end, as a great quarterback. Looks like Roethlisberger's going down that road. But we're going to take a short break here on the Thomas Baia Show. We'll be back in 30 seconds here with Bobby Ellis. When we come back, we have Blake Griffin news released from the Pistons. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have what do we have? Oh, some MLB talk. We have MLB talk. So we'll talk about that. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. More of the Thomas Baia Show. Stay with us. All right, and we are back now with the Thomas Baia Show. Did you see that, Bob? I don't know if you can see it on your end. We got a comment. Did you see that? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I did.
This has been commenting. Nice to see it. We got some people. I don't know how she found. I don't know who sent her the link. I didn't send her the link. I don't have her phone number. I'll have to get her number after this, and I'll send her all the links, all the stuff we're talking. We'll have to have her on sometime, maybe talk some. She's a Yankee fan. Talk some Yankees. But let's talk a little bit about NBA. So Blake Griffin released from Pistons, and I'm not the biggest NBA guy. I've been getting a lot more into it now, just watching games late at night. And now I'm here watching, and I'm listening to all these guys, talk about Blake Griffin, and you tell me if you agree with this or not. It seems like Blake Griffin needed a fresh start. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, since he's joined the Pistons, his career and his play has kind of diminished. His play style has changed a lot. Before he was like a super explosive, go at the rim kind of guy. And when he got transferred over to Detroit, he kind of became like a stretch four, and he started shooting the ball a little bit more, handling it a little bit more, and that really just didn't really fit him. Had a couple injuries here and there. And I think that being on that Pistons team just was not very good for his career. So, yeah, I think I agree that he definitely needed a fresh start. He needed to get out of Detroit and, try to revive his career.
Now, it looks like the Nets, I just saw that. They are in the lead to land Blake Griffin. I mean, that'd be joining three amazing players with Kyrie, KD, and Jim Harden. His friends call him Jim Harden, by the way. It's not James. They call him Jim Harden. That's just the way I think of it. But so he'll be joining them possibly. It's all rumored, of course. Is there any other team that you see that could be a really good fit for Blake Griffin?
Well, like I was saying, his play style has changed a lot. He's still a very skilled player. It's just that, his strengths haven't been really utilized. I've also seen people say that he's probably going to go to Miami to try to help them out a little bit. They've been having a pretty rough stretch, at least at the beginning of the year. They've looked a little bit better over these past couple of weeks, but maybe that would be a good landing spot. They need another big out there. Brooklyn would be kind of, in my opinion, a weird spot for him to go, because if he's going to go there, he's going to end up being a role player, right? He's going to be the guy that's, going to go get rebounds. He's not really going to be a scorer. And I feel like on Detroit, that was his role too. Like, he wasn't really brought in to be the star. He was kind of brought in to be a role player, which I don't really fit him very well. If he's going to go to Miami, I feel like he's going to get the ball a lot more, especially just to get the stress out of like Tyler Hero, Dragic, and even Bam Adebayo, get the stress off of those guys, and then he could probably go and be a scorer for them. But if I had to think, I mean, maybe the Warriors would probably be a good spot for him. LA, both teams would maybe be another good spot. I've seen Philly, that reunion with Doc Rivers in Philly. I think maybe the best spot for him, in my opinion, would probably be Miami, at least right now.
I like that. I mean, there's a lot of teams where. So, are you saying that when he gets there, he's going to be the star, or you envision him more as a role player? You think more of a star?
In Miami, I don't really even say a star. I just say going back to his old role of being a scorer, and just coming back to his, like, not prime, because obviously in his prime he was flying all over the court, he was dunking it, and he was going at the rim. But at least now he can get the ball back into his hands and try to do something else for that offense.
Okay. Now I don't know if you got this, a text from your wonderful mother, Mrs. Atlas, and I just saw this on Twitter as well. The Sabres have signaled a major announcement coming later today. I think they need to do everything differently, honestly. I mean, let's just, off the top of our head, let's just think what's something that, okay, could it be fire Kruger? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. Kim and Adams kind of like each other. I'm gonna be the one to say it. I don't think it is. Oh gosh, I don't even want to say it. Do you know what I'm thinking? Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking like,
yeah, I've seen the rumors. I've seen the rumors all week. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oh boy, I don't know. I don't want to trade him, but if I'm Jack Eichel, I want out too.
Yeah.
I want out too.
It's fair. It's fair. We're just not a very good team at all. Ralph Kruger, when he came in, I was pretty excited because I'd heard pretty good things about him. Like, I'd seen that he had done really well with Edmonton for a little bit as their interim head coach. Then he went over to Europe to help. What was he, like, the president of operations or something like that at Chelsea? Yeah. I was super excited for him. But now, I mean, it's just the same old thing that it was 3 years ago, right? It's not a good look. And if I'm Eichel, I probably want out too. And I think it's fair to say that.
And I think Taylor Hall, I bet you that's a guy who could go away since he was only a 1-year deal and breathing bodies back for him. I mean, that could be an option, but I don't know. I don't know. Do we really have to revamp the whole roster? We might have to. But before we shift over to MLB, I just want to give a quick shout out to Connor Rain. He's back in the studio behind me. You can't really see him with the wall there, but he's back there. He's the one working how it says NHL Talk. If you're live streaming with video, he set up the thing where it says the Thomas Baia Show and our names. He set the whole thing up for us. He's awesome. He's the best, and he's helping us out a lot. So Connor, I know you can hear me. Thank you. You're the best. But let's go to MLB teams. Let's just go through a few notable teams. We won't talk about the Orioles. So basically, we're just not going to talk about AAA teams. Some of their biggest strengths and weaknesses. Now, we'll start with the Yankees, since that's, I guess, what I'm best at. I don't know. The biggest strength, I would say, is the length and power of our lineup. The biggest weakness, I'd have to say, our rotation. And the reason I say that, the rotation's a high risk, high reward. They have guys with Kluber and Tyon who pitch like I think the stat was like 1 inning in the past 2 years or something because they've been hurt. But they've proven, both of them have proven that they can pitch, but can they do it consistently? And Corey Kluber just had a really nice outing yesterday or 2 nights ago. When did he pitch? It was the night game. But anyway, so he pitched well. Tyon pitched well. So I think the rotation is probably the biggest concern. but I think the lineup is just deadly.
Yeah, I agree. Gary, he has really good offense, and his defense has definitely gotten better over the years. Changing up his philosophy and how he sits back there. Luke Voigt is nasty. LeMahieu's nasty. Torres is nasty. Judge is nasty. I mean, all those guys are going to be really, really good on offense. And then Torres is arguably getting up there in one of the best shortstops in the league. And then, like you said, the rotation isn't great, especially because Kluber had been hurt. But he's a Cy Young winner. You have Garcia and Montgomery on the back end of that rotation, and then you bring it back with one of the best pitchers in baseball, Garrett Cole. I feel like the Yankees really have a shot to pull together this year, but it's not going to be an easy run, especially not against the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays are a team. We could dive into them. Biggest concern. Let's see. Rotation. They have Rue. They have. They just traded for Matz from the Mets. They have a few young arms. Their lineup looks good with Vlad and Bichette and Marcus Semien. They added him. He'll be a nice addition. Obviously Springer, Grichuk. So they have a good lineup. I'd say probably maybe their bullpen could be an issue.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, pitching in general is going to be tough for them. But they have a really good young lineup. They bring in Marcus Semien. They bring in Springer. They're going to look pretty good this year, I think. And it's going to be a lot. It's going to remind me a little bit of the Rays from last year. But if their lineup, their rotation can figure it out, I feel like they're going to be pretty deadly.
White Sox are a team that could challenge the Yankees. Tim Anderson had a quote saying we're the best team in the American League. I mean, I was talking to you earlier. I like it in the sense of, get people to talk more about baseball, stir the pot a little bit. Unfortunately, he's wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You're not. I don't really see anyone better than the Yankees in the AL, but their biggest strength is, just their young talent. I mean, with Anderson and they have that the second baseman. He was a top choice for Rookie of the Year. What's his name? I'm gonna get it.
Yoel Moncada, and
Moncada's great.
Yeah.
There was another guy. I can't think of his name. But their pitching isn't bad. I mean, they have a bunch of young guys. On there, they signed Liam Hendricks, who's a good reliever. Eloy Jimenez. That's not who I was thinking of, but he's another good one. Nick Madrigal.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's a little second baseman. He's really good. He hit 340 at there. No, what did he hit? He hit like 320 last year and like 100 at bats or something. He was really good. Let's go to your Cardinals. What do you see as the biggest strength, weakness for them?
Well, we have Jack Flaherty, who was high up there on the Cy Young voting last year. We have Miles Mikolas, who's coming back pretty soon, and he was a stud last year. Adam Wainwright is making his basically his retirement tour with Yachty, which is going to be pretty fun. The question mark really is on that fifth starter. We're trying to bring back Carlos Martinez. I was watching the game. I think it was last night or 2 nights ago. He was in for like an inning and he gave up 3 hits and walked 2 guys. It just did not look very good. That's where the question mark is going to be for me, is on that fifth starter. We have a couple young guys coming up. We have one of the best closers in the game right now in Jordan Hicks. He throws 100 miles an hour almost every pitch, which is awesome. And then, the big acquisition there in the offseason with the fleecing of the Rockies, and we get one of the best third basemen in baseball in Nolan Arenado. So I'm pretty excited for this team.
Yeah, that was the definition of a fleece. What trade was worse? Arenado trade or the DeAndre Hopkins trade?
Arenado trade. Almost.
That was the biggest fleece.
Yeah, they gave us money for him.
They did. They gave you $50 million to take Nolan Arenado off their hands.
It's unbelievable.
What a joke. And we'll go to the Dodgers. I mean, their biggest strength is everyone on the team ever. I guess probably the only concern that I can think of is maybe bullpen later on in the postseason, maybe. I mean, the rotation's disgusting. You got Buehler, Bauer, Kershaw, Urias. Someone says Urias might have the best stuff out of all of them. Dustin May. I mean, their lineup. I mean, do I even have to go through it? I'll just name the big ones. I mean, Seager, Turner, Bellinger, Betts. But their bullpen, maybe Kensley Jensen's good. I know he struggled a little bit in the postseason, but maybe their bullpen a little bit. But I mean, this team's just loaded in every sense.
I agree. Yep. Like you said, their bullpen just isn't very great. I mean, Joe Kelly is getting a lot better. They have Corey Knebel back there, and then Kenley Jansen. When he's on his game, he has some of the best stuff in the league. He's one of the top closers as well, at least in the National League. I'm pretty excited for this team too. It's not going to be exciting to play them, obviously, but they're going to look really, really good.
Absolutely. We're going to take another short break, another 30-second break here on the Thomas Baia Show. When we come back, we're going to have a fun game of Would You Rather with the NFL. We'll talk some MLB over-unders, and we have 2 top 5 lists. So the way that works for anyone who's new to the show, I make a top 5 every week. 1 week Bobby does it, 1 week I do it, and we try to guess who's on the other top 5 list. I actually did 2 of them this week. I was kind of bored this week, and I just decided to make 2. So I have 2 good ones, and we'll be back in 30 seconds with more of the Thomas Baia Show. Stay with us. All right, and we are back now with the Thomas Baia Show. Thank you for sticking with us. We just got a new. I don't even know if it's new. If it isn't new, I just realized it. There's a TV right above me on the in our studio, and I had the Yankee game on earlier, the spring training game, and now it's the Mike Kay Show, and they just had Aaron Boone on. I can't hear it, but obviously he had open heart surgery in 2009, and now he just had that pacemaker in, and he says he feels great. So, by the way, did you notice my hand when I was pointing? Did you see this? Do you like that? How's it look? Looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it looks all right. I have different stories of what happened. I got in a fight with a guy. The other guy's all screwed up, but this is all I got away with. But whatever sounds the best. I don't tell them the actual story of how I tripped and fell and stuck my hand on the stove. But now everyone listening knows. But it's fine. I'm all about transparency. But let's go to. Let's play a little Would You Rather here. Let's do that with the NFL. So we'll play with you, Bob. I'll ask you a few questions, and I'll say Would You Rather. Now, not necessarily for you as a Bills fan, but what would be the best fit for the player maybe? What would be the best fit for that team? What could be most likely to happen? You'll see how it goes. So we'll start with the first one. I got 4 of them for you. For the Houston Texans, would you rather see Watson on the Jets, Dolphins, or Niners? What's the best fit for him, the most likely? What do you think?
I'm going to go through each of them, and I'm going to give a couple reasons why, and then I'll give you my final answer. So first off, for the Jets, I don't think it's very smart for them to go out and get him, especially because their team is that bad right now. And if I'm Watson, I wouldn't want to go there. And it being in the same conference, I definitely would not want to be trading him there if I was the Texans. Same thing for the Dolphins. They are in a pretty good spot right now, even with Tua. They're in a pretty good spot to be, a pretty big dog in the conference. And giving up all of that draft capital that they have for a quarterback, if he's only going to be throwing to Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant and whoever else they have on their offense right now, and you can't go out and get another good wide receiver for him, there's really no point in doing that if you're the Dolphins. Of those 3 teams, I think that it's the 49ers who are going to be the best fit, at least for Watson and for the entirety of the team, because you think about it, They have a lot of really good weapons. They have arguably one of the best tight ends in the league right now, maybe behind Kelsey and George Kittle. They have a really good running back room. They have Brandon Ayuk, who's a really young, really good athletic wide receiver. And then they have Deebo Samuel, who's coming back off of injury this year, who was super electric in their Super Bowl run. If I'm the 49ers, I would want to go out and get him. I would spend everything that I have in draft capital for the next probably 2 or 3 years, because that team is going to be set after that point. And that's really all that they're missing, right? I mean, I've been talking about this since their Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo just isn't that good. He's like formidable, I guess. But if they have a quarterback who's like a little bit above his level, I think that they probably end up winning that Super Bowl, because they were just so one-dimensional on that offense last year that they couldn't really get the ball rolling. I think if you have Deshaun Watson with all of those weapons and that defense, I feel like they're going to be super scary next year.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking if that's a trade, you have to assume that Garoppolo goes to Houston. You'd have to assume. But that would be awful for him. The guy's been hurt like there's no tomorrow, and then he goes to one of the worst O-lines in football. Probably one of the bigger reasons you could think that maybe Deshaun's leaving Houston. So not a great fit for Garoppolo, but it's all about Watson. I think that'd be scary. I mean, and that's the thing we were just talking about earlier. It all comes back to it. You can't have the fourth best quarterback in your division behind Russell, Kyler Murray, and Matt Stafford now. I'm sorry. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo gets it done. You got to make a move to maybe get a guy like Deshaun. Would you rather, for the Jets, draft, and I'm going to assume it's Zach Wilson, or keep Sam Darnold? I stumped him with
if I'm the Jets, I probably end up taking Zach Wilson. I wasn't too high on him before the start of this college football season. I knew that he was a pretty good player. I just didn't think that he was going to be top 5, not even top 10. Like, I thought that he was going to be a first rounder probably, because that's what teams like to go out and get is first round quarterbacks. But he is really that good. I think that he's better than Justin Fields. I think that he's better than Trey Lance. He has the size, he has the arm strength, and he has the mobility. He has a way about him, just how humble he is, and how he carries himself, that I feel like he would probably be a good fit for the Jets. Darnold is bad. A lot of people blame that on the Jets organization. I just don't think that he's that good. You can blame it on Adam Gase, you can blame it on Todd Bowles, but he just is not that good. And I feel like you need a new, refreshing piece there at quarterback.
Would you rather trade Wilson to the Bears, Cowboys, or have him stay in Seattle?
If I'm Seattle's front office?
Yeah.
If I'm
no, because you probably keep him, right? What would be the best fit for him? How about that?
Right. To be honest with you, if Russell Wilson can keep Allen Robinson on the Bears, I would think that if I'm Wilson, I would probably want a change of scenery. Like, I'd need that reassurance of Allen Robinson being there to want to go to the Bears, because where the Seahawks are right now, I don't know if they're going to be able to bring it back. Like, Russell Wilson is a top 3 quarterback right now in the NFL, top 5. And where he is in his career and where the Seahawks currently are, I don't think that there's going to be very much progression. I think that he might need a new change of scenery, and in Chicago with a really great defense, not a super great O-line, and a top 7 wide receiver in Allen Robinson, I would maybe want to do that if I was him.
Yeah, I got you there, and I agree with that. It's so crazy to me that, and you never saw this back in the day, but I think these NFL quarterbacks are seeing it in the NBA now, where guys, if they're not happy, they want out. Quarterbacks back in the day, they never left, really. Maybe once at the end of the year, like Brady did. But even if they were unhappy, they kind of stuck it out. They never really did it, but now we're seeing Watson wants out. Russell Wilson might want out. We saw Matt Stafford said he wanted out. Boom, he's out of town to LA. And there could be more. Who knows? In the next couple years, we could see more and more people that end up going to different. And it's crazy because this never happened. I don't know what brought it on. I don't know if they saw their buddies in the NBA, doing this, and they're like, oh, why can't we do it too? But I don't know. It's weird. I've never seen this before. Quarterbacks just changing scenery like crazy.
Yeah. Well, at least now, I can't really attest to in the past, but at least now there's some justification, right? The Texans went from the AFC Championship game to being 4-11 after trading the best wide receiver in football, right? Best wide receiver in the world, and they get him out of there for a second-round pick and an old, dusty running back that has one of the worst contracts in the NFL. To put Deshaun Watson, a top 3 quarterback right now, in that type of situation, I would probably want to be out too. I'm not blaming him for wanting to be out of that situation, especially when, if you're one of the best quarterbacks in the league, you would probably have some pull in that type of department. Bill O'Brien, one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen was that trade. I know that we just talked about the Arenado trade, but that literally might be the second worst ever. That was just astonishing what he did to that team. And now he's out of there. They're trying to switch up management. They're trying to get a new head coach in there. They're trying to turn around, but if I'm Deshaun Watson, I probably just don't want to be a part of that.
Last one here. Actually, before we do, Connor, as I mentioned earlier, he's doing all the stuff for us in the behind the scenes. He just showed me a thing on ESPN, a little Tiger Woods update, almost kind of a newer breaking story today. Tiger Woods was found unconscious in his SUV by a man who walked to the crash. I guess he lived nearby. He heard the crash and he walked over and he was asking him questions. And the man told the deputies that arrived on the scene that Woods would not respond to his questions. So have to read a little bit more up on that. Obviously, prayers going out to Tiger Woods. Obviously, we all know about the crash by now. But let's get the last one of Would You Rather. Let's do this. Buffalo Bills related. Would you rather the Buffalo Bills draft a cornerback, linebacker, or O-line in the first round?
Now this one's tough because the Bills are in a pretty good spot right now, roster-wise. I know that we talked about it a little bit earlier. We have unrestricted free agents in Corey Bojorquez, Ike Butker, and Levi Wallace. I'm very anti-Levi Wallace, and I'm very pro Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson looked really, really good last year against DeAndre Hopkins when Wallace was out. In my opinion, I think that I want to keep Jackson around. And if you can't go out and get Darrell Williams, if we're going to do what I said and, try to keep Darrell Williams around, I feel like he was one of the most important O-linemen on that team. If we're going to keep him around, I think that we have to go linebacker. There's a couple guys that I've really, really had my eye on. Nick Bolton's one of them. He's a pretty feisty guy out of Mizzou. There's a guy out of Tulsa. I can't remember his name. And then the Notre Dame linebacker who has a crazy name. I can't remember. I don't even know how to say that either. But
it's bad. But
you know who I'm talking about. But I really had my eye on Nick Bolton. I've been watching his tape a lot, and he looks really, really good. To have him paired up with Tremaine Edmonds would be really special. But yeah, I think I'd pick linebacker.
Yeah, I agree that they're in a really good spot. I do. I think there's a lot of really talented guys in this draft, and it's pretty deep. I can see guys, who can, make an impact. We all want, him to Milano to stay, of course, but it might. He's probably going to cost us too much, which is a shame. I'm actually trying to find something here now. It's not on there. But it's terrible that we can't keep him because he was really, really good for us. But it is what it is. But let's move on to let's do some MLB over unders. So MLB, let's see if I'll pull it up here. It's on their Instagram. Actually, they probably post it on Twitter too, but I saw it on Instagram. They did their over under projections for each team. Let's see if I can find it here. If I was a professional, I'd have it already pulled up, but we just fly by the seat of our pants here. Let's see if I can find it here. Maybe it was MLB Fox. I know I saved it though. But, actually, this is something. It was offensive rankings done by Ben Verlander of MLB Fox. So he had the Dodgers 1, Yankees 2, Braves 3, White Sox 4, Padres 5, Twins 6, Blue Jays 7, Astros 8, Mets 9, Angels 10. You're probably thinking, where are the Cardinals? He has them at 12 behind the Phillies.
I'm not too mad at that, to be honest with you. So Colton Wong wasn't that good on offense, but not having a really big bat in the outfield is going to kind of hurt us because I know that we were looking to get Ozuna back from the Braves after that year. Paul DeJong isn't very good offensively. I mean, all of our offense is going to be coming from Goldschmidt and Arenado on the corners, so I'm not really too mad at that. But we'll see. We'll see as the year goes on.
All right, I found the over/under, so we'll go through a few of the big ones. Let's go with the Atlanta Braves at 91.5. Now they're in a really tough division. I'll say the oh boy, I got him. I'll say the under just by a tad.
I'll say the under as well. The Mets are looking really good this year, and they're going to have a really good divisional battle. And the Phillies just aren't going to be a pushover this year. So I'm going to say under.
Let's go with the White Sox, kind of the opposite of the Braves. They're in a weaker division in the AL Central. They are at 91.5 as well. I'm going to take the over, and I think it's them and the Twins who are going to battle it out for the AL Central, and I think the White Sox end up taking that. So I'll take the over. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, agreed. I'll go with the over.
Okay. Let's do the Mets, 90.5. Again, tough division. Since we had the Braves under, I'm going to say over. I'm going to say over at 90.5. I think they're a 93 to 94 win team.
Man, I don't want to change my answer. I might have. No, I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Mets are gonna pull it out in that division.
The Yankees, 95.5. This one's I want to say over because I'm going to say it with my heart, but I'm not sure. I'm going to say over. They should. I mean, their division. I have to be consistent. I mean, the Blue Jays could give them a little bit of a push, but I think we're still significantly better than them. Red Sox were better than Rays. I still think we are better than them. I think they lost a lot of pieces with Morton and Blake Snell, and the Orioles are a pushover. So I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I think I agree. I know that I'm pretty high on the Blue Jays, but just not quite on the Yankees level just yet. Maybe in the postseason they can go for a run at the Yankees. But during the regular season, I think that the Yankees have that division on lock, at least for the most part. I'm going to go over.
All right. Padres, 94.5. Ooh, I'll leave that one up to you. That's a tough one. So they are really good.
I'm going to go under because they have to play the Dodgers how many times a year? 12?
18 or 19.
Yeah, 18. I think. Yeah. So if you're playing you're probably going to end up splitting all those games in theory. I'm going to go under just because they have to play the Dodgers that many times.
I like that. And I like them as a wild card team as well.
Yeah. They're really, really good. They're really special.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're insane. Tatis and Machado are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Let's go to our top 5 list. By the way, I know people are commenting. I see Mrs. Benton and Miss Mahar are commenting. If anyone's watching, you want to ask me or Bobby a question or two, go ahead and comment. We can see them so that that'll pop up while we're doing our top 5. So, Bobby, top 5. This is the first one. NBA duos of all time.
Okay. So I'm gonna go. This actually shouldn't be too hard for me. At least these
I
first
think
couple.
the next one will be interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna try to guess. Okay. I'll try to guess them in order. I'm gonna go. Number 1 is gonna be Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
Of course, yeah. Jordan and Pippen, 21 combined All-Stars, 6 championships. I'm actually rewatching The Last Dance right now, and that's where it came from. Pretty amazing. I noticed so many more things that I didn't notice the first time I watched it. Awesome. I know a lot of people watch it. If you watch it for one time, I say watch it again. It's spectacular. And I will say this. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. There are no active duos on. So I know you might have been thinking one. You might have been thinking Steph and Clay. I do not have them in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all historic.
Okay. So there's nobody playing currently?
There is nobody playing currently, correct.
Oh, wow.
But they're not that old. They're not that old.
Right.
I'm not going back to the 50s and 60s and all them.
Right, okay. So just for clarification, there's no LeBron duo on this list?
There's not. I mean, you want to say what, LeBron and D Wade probably.
Kyrie. Yeah, or Kyrie, yeah, either or.
But that's the thing. Who do you go with? I didn't have them on, and if you disagree at the end and you think they should be on, let me know. I'm more than willing to take one of them off. But I do not have LeBron on there.
Okay. So next I'm gonna go with Kobe and Shaq.
Kobe and Shaq, Bobby, I have at 3. So they're not number 2. I have them at 3. They played from 96 to 04, 3 combined championships, and they are number 3 on the list.
Okay. Jeez. No LeBron on there is giving me trouble. And actually, I'm pretty surprised that you didn't put Steph and Clay on there either. This is giving me kind of a little bit of trouble now.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, probably at the end they'll probably be on there if they win a couple more championships. But right now, together, like honestly, together, how many do they have? 3? Because they got one with Durant. Or how many with Durant? How many do they have with KD?
They have 2.
2 with KD, right?
Yeah.
So, yep. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you tell me at the end. I mean, you got a few more to guess here.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to?
Nah, I can. I have a couple more guesses. Okay. Let's go with Magic and Kareem at number 2 then.
I have them at 2. 79 89, 5 championships. They are number 2, Magic and Kareem. 4.
4 and 5. Okay.
Number 5 actually never won a championship, but I couldn't ignore him.
That was a good hint. That was because I wasn't sure if I wanted to put them yet. So that's Stockton and Malone.
Stockton, Malone, and I did the research on it. 24 combined All-Stars, 2 MVPs for Malone, and they played from 85 to 2003. But again, no championship, so I have to put him at number 5.
I might need a hint for this last one, Thomas.
Okay, they won 4 championships together, and they played from 01 to 2018. Did that help or no?
Sort of. Tim Duncan and
I can give you the team.
Yeah. Tim Duncan and Parker.
You got it. Duncan and Parker. Yeah. Yep. So, So Jordan Pippen 1, Magic Kareem 2, Shaq Kobe 3, Duncan and Parker 4, and Stockton Malone 5. Oh, we got a question here. Before we get to the other one. Let's see. Oh, Miss Mahar is guessing. Uncle Craig. Yep, and you got them both. Stockton Malone. Yep. Mrs. Benton is asking, what do the Yankees need to do to be able to beat the Dodgers in the World Series? Assuming those two are the series. I'd say number one, stay healthy.
Uh-oh. I think he dropped out. Well, while he's gone, I'll try to answer. He said stay healthy. I think that the Yankees are in a pretty interesting spot. I know that we talked about their rotation a little bit. Thomas, you're back.
I'm paying so much money for this school, and they can't get us good Wi-Fi.
All right, you can take it away again. I tried to answer, but
I appreciate it. I said stay healthy. I said stay healthy. Was there anything? What else did you add while I was cut out for a bit?
Well, we talked about it before. Their rotation is obviously inferior to the Dodgers. As long as those guys can step it up a little bit, especially in the postseason, we see Kluber making a comeback. I feel like they would have a pretty good shot at beating them.
I agree. So I think it's rotation playing well, and I think it's staying healthy. So here's the next top five. We'll see if we can crank this one out in a few minutes here. And this one is going to be very, very confrontational. The scribbles that I have on this note card is ridiculous. Top five recognizable athletes by a single name.
Okay.
So you think by a single name. Now, let me just say, for one of them, I never said first name. I will tell you that. One of them is not a first name. And they're not necessarily nicknames, but
just, names. Okay, I gotcha. I'm going to try to just run through these pretty quickly.
All right.
So I'm not going to go in order either. We got Ronaldo, I think.
Ronaldo was on the thought about list.
Okay. So then I'm going to go with Messi.
Nope, Messi did not make it. There's no soccer. If there was a soccer, it was going to be Pele.
Oh, okay.
But I did not do it.
So then I got to go with Kobe.
Kobe I had at 3.
Okay. LeBron
I have at 2.
Who is number 1?
I actually just talked to him on the show. No, I didn't do Jordan. I think a lot of people say MJ, Michael.
Right.
I didn't put that one on.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about him. He's not of the 4 major sports. Oh, if you look at the comments, one of them's on there.
Shaq.
Yep, I have Shaq at 5.
Mm-hmm.
I could give a big hint, but
yeah, go for it. I'm kind of blanking here for some reason.
Tiger Woods.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Number 1. And then number 4, I'll give you this. He's not of the 4 major sports, and it's also a last name.
Is he currently playing or
no?
No. Not of the 4 major sports. Wow. This is tough, Thomas. This is a good one. I know.
This one was tough, and I had to put him on there, but he's so recognizable, and I think by this name, I'll tell you this, he's actually passed away. He passed away in 2016. He was a boxer.
Oh, Ali?
Yep, Ali. So the top 5. Why is my computer shaking all of a sudden? So Tiger 1, LeBron 2, Kobe 3, Ali 4, and Shaq 5. Notables off the list. Really thought about. Wilt, Babe for Babe Ruth, Brady, but everyone calls him, Tom Terrific, Tom Brady. I don't know. Yogi was one that was thought about. Pele, I mentioned. Gretzky. Ichiro, he was kind of thought about, but if he wants to be in, these 5, I think he, I don't know. I didn't really think about Ichiro, but he was semi-thought about. Ronaldo, Magic, Serena. Serena was really close. I almost had her over Shaq, but I didn't. And then Messi and Tyson. So those were the thought abouts.
I definitely probably would have put Ronaldo in there. I don't know for who, but that was just my first thought.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Who do you take off?
Right.
Who do you
You're
take off? Well, that is going to do it for this edition. Very, very special Thomas Baia Show. Again, thank you to Connor. He is fantastic. He was back there doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And make sure we tune in tomorrow as St. Bonaventure plays, let me get all the details, plays St. Louis, CBSSN at 6 o'clock for the semifinal of the A-10 championship, trying to crack their way into the March Madness tournament. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us here. This was the most fun I've ever had on the show, and I think that we're definitely doing this again. I know you have football coming up, but we're definitely going to get this rolling for sure. And thank you again. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone listening and commenting.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, Bobby. And that's going to do it for the Thomas Baia Show. And have a great, safe, and fun weekend, everybody. So long.